Glad you're here with us. I'm Felicity Ezewike. Let's begin by telling you that workplaces within Nigeria's federal capital remain closed as workers failed to resume duties 24 hours after the new year. Residents were seen at recreational sports enjoying the last moments of the holiday season. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai visited some areas in the FCT and filed this report.
Capital cities are unusually quiet as many residents are yet to return from the holidays. A quick visit to one of the recreational centers within the city shows residents still in holiday mode, savoring the last few moments before work fully resumes.
As I'm free, we need to come outside and enjoy ourselves before we start our daily activities. So we thank God, we just come outside here to celebrate.
I'm working for myself, that is self-employing. So I decide to resume anytime I want. And that is why I decided not to go work today, because this is the second day.
Some share their aspirations and expectations for the new year.
My expectation is for 2025 is for things to be easy with people.
Everything should come down, food stuffs and every other thing. The price should be normal so that the poor masses can meet up. Because last year wasn't that funny at all.
We don't have any trust on government again. We have lose hope, everything, I don't know.
With the holiday season gradually winding down, the Federal Capital Territory is expected to see a high influx of residents and workers returning from their holidays as economic activities resume at full scale. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
A related development, most workers in Abia State are yet to resume work despite the end of the holiday. A visit to some of the government workplaces in Umuahia and News Center's Chinwe Ugele showed that the holiday may be far from over.
We waited until 11 a.m. before checking out the ministries and other government establishments to see if more people will turn out for work.
We resume because New Year holiday is over and work started today.
It's past 11 a.m. today being Thursday, the second day of January 2025. And I am at the Workers' Secretariat here in Umuahia, Abia State Capital, to observe the level of resumption to duty by the workers in the state. Behind me is the parking lot that usually gets filled up with vehicles, but today there are just very few cars that are there. So we'll be going into the building to find out the people that have returned to work. In some ministries, there were few staff present as of the time we're called. But in some, it was nearly a ghost town with offices locked and no one inside. Although some of the workers we tried to interview declined, those who spoke attributed the situation to a number of factors.
Maybe some traveled to their villages. That's why they are not here.
Why you didn't see a lot of people in their duty posts might be maybe for them to, some of them, for them to come back from villages, or some of them are on their way coming. I would say from now till, let's say, 12 to 1, some of them will be in their duty posts because we are just resuming today.
There are those who must be at their duty posts no matter the situation. There are indications that it may take more days for all the workers to resume duties.
But I believe by next week, this place will fill with many people.
With the retirement of the state's head of service on the 31st of December 2024, Abia State civil servants may have been left at liberty to act as they wish until the inauguration of the new designate. In Umuahia for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
Away from that, candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has called for far-reaching measures to address the myriad of challenges affecting the country. Obi, during a press conference in the nation's capital, Abuja, called on government to effect an urgent reduction in the cost of governance, saying this will free up funds for investment into critical sectors of the economy. He says that there is a need to tackle poverty and inequality which is destroying the fabric of the country. To discuss this,
it is time to confront our national problems boldly, decisively, with a sense of urgency, and I suggest as follows. Commence a visible and verifiable reduction in cost of governance to be able to allocate much needed resources to critical areas of development such as security, health, education, and poverty alleviation.
To discuss this, we're joined by public affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Jide, it's good to see you. Happy New Year, and thanks for spending the first few days with us.
It's my pleasure, Felicity. Compliments of this season.
Compliments, sir. So we're back here again talking about cost of governance. Just before the holidays, President Tinubu gave a media chat, and in it he said he had no intention of reducing his cabinet, and that's one of the ways to cut down on the cost of governance. In what ways do you think this administration under Tinubu will adhere or maybe listen to the submissions by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party from 2023?
Thank you. Yes, I watched the media chat where the president said he's not intending to reduce the cost or to cut down on his cabinet, and that a country of over 220 million should not have just very few hands driving the administration. However, I believe that I don't agree with him on that count. I've written several published commentary in my column in The Punch, antagonizing that position. America, with over 350 million population, has just 15 secretaries, which is equivalent of ministers. And so to have 50 ministers does not sync well with me. And what the presidential candidate of Labour Party in the last election said, they are true. They are true as you know it to be. However, what I feel he needs to do so that he is not perceived as a sore loser is also to see some of the things that the administration may be doing right. It should not just be all negatives. It should not just be, oh, there's corruption, there's ineptitude, and this government is doing this wrong, doing that wrong. Wherever they have done one or two things right, we should applaud that. For instance, I wish you had acknowledged the restreaming of the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries. I wish he had appreciated the fact that we are having foreign reserve from what the president told us, about $42 billion in foreign reserve. I expected him to appreciate the fact that unlike under Warri administration, where we have ways and means painted without production, this administration claimed that it is not doing that, and it has a very healthy service resources to service its debt. However, like I said, one thing is certain: every government can do better. But what the thin line we need to walk is that we should just not be an armchair critics who sees nothing good in every administration.
Jide, if I may interject, we all are resident in this country, and perception depends on where you're feeling the bite of the situation. Some would argue with you that the Port Harcourt and Warri refinery, that there seems to be unclear details about the operationality of these two refineries. The cost of fuel is still up there, despite what is being done. That is an argument that can be put forward. However, from what we know of this government and this administration in the last 1 year, do you think there might be something from this press conference by Peter Obi that might trigger interest in the administration and get some sort of response that Nigerians will applaud?
Well, I just want Peter Obi to know that the time for campaign is over. This is the time for governance. And the fact that he is perceived as a statesman, he needs to always balance whatever criticism is coming up with. The issue of Port Harcourt and Warri Refinery that you referenced, quite a number of journalists have been invited to come and see for themselves. And have come back with a report that this is true and people are loading. And yet, you know, this Warri Refinery was restrained just on the eve of the new year, barely 3-4 days ago. You don't expect the reduction in the cost of, you know, goods and services almost immediately. From what you said, I buy the last purchase I made of fuel before New Year. I bought 1,050 from the fuel station in my home. But from what has been published, the price of PMS have come down to now around 35, which negates the fact that when people say what goes up never comes down in Nigeria, that is not true. And I believe that if we try to balance our arguments and our criticisms, we will encourage the government to do a lot more. I agree. There's still a lot to reduce the cost of governance, but not to say that there is nothing good in this administration.
Okay, Jide, we're time pressed. If not, I'll let you run on. But I would like you to speak to, is there anything in Peter Obi's press conference that you think that maybe this administration can latch on to and respond in a way that Nigerians will say, okay, perhaps they do listen?
Of course, there are quite a number of things, and I believe the media team of Mr. President will respond to him in the coming days. There are quite a number of things, but I don't think it sits well to say the president must go and visit physically all the, you know, go around on road travels, go around on to visit hospitals, do his medicals in Nigeria. It's a choice. He, as an individual, Peter Obi, may have the resources as an individual to go abroad to have access to assess his Medicare. He could not force a president to assess his Medicare in Nigeria. It's an option. If a president will go on road travel, you know what will happen, my dear Felicita? The entire road will be closed for Mr. President, given the challenge of insecurity. And even the fact that the president is in Lagos, my friends in Lagos are complaining that they don't want the president to be visiting Lagos because of the huge traffic challenge that his presence in Lagos is causing. So this whole idea of he has to go physically to see things for himself is highly unnecessary. At his age, he cannot do much of physical inspection. But what we want to see is better results in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of reduction in insecurity, in terms of economic growth, in terms of improvements in the standard of living of Nigeria.
Right. We are in a new year,
Jide. Things are not where they ought to be. I agree completely with Mr. Peter Obi. Things are not where we want it to be. Jide, we should also acknowledge that things are not where it used to be.
All right, Jide. I mean, we're in a new year, so expectedly, we'll see what happens. And probably by December of 2025, we'll be having this conversation with you again. Thanks for speaking with us.
God keeping us alive, I would like to be on your show then to appraise what has gone on in this new year. But let's hope for the best.
Indeed. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has insisted that there is only one House of Assembly existing in the state and that it is led by Victor Okojumbo. Governor Fubara made the clarification shortly after giving assent to the Rivers State Appropriation Bill No. 1 of 2025 at the Government House in Port Harcourt on Thursday. The governor said that as it stands now, the focus of his administration is to do everything possible in defending the interest of Rivers State and the integrity of governance.
I want to say this, maybe for some persons somewhere who are still mixing up issues. We have only one assembly, and that assembly is headed by Right the Honorable Victor Okujomi. A group of friends, they embarked on what they call Simba's journey. Halfway the vessel, while they were coasting, they now realized that they were entering inside the den of devil and sharks. They now retrieved. It is too late. It is too late. And the truth about it, we're not going back. We've given them enough room. As it stands now, our major target is the interest of Rivers State and to continue to defend the integrity of governance. So as long as I'm concerned, we have moved on.
Your Excellency 2025 promises to be a year of strategic planning and partnership. Your Excellency, we have no doubt that you will carry out the task of developing and delivering the dividends of democracy to every nook and cranny in Rivers State.
4 and 5 deals with the capital expenditure totaling 678 billion 88,433,962 naira 3 kobo. Again, the capital expenditure signifies Your Excellency's commitment to ensure infrastructure development cut across all sectors and local governments of the state.
If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Civil servants and workers failed to resume duties 24 hours after New Year celebration. 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi urges President Tinubu to reduce cost of governance. Rivers State Governor insists there is only one House of Assembly existing in the state. And Burkina Faso court sentences 2 to life imprisonment over 2017 deadly attack on Turkish restaurant. Thank you for staying with us. The federal government may cut its crude oil supply to the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, reducing it from the current allocation of 300,000 barrels per day, except there is a surge in Nigeria's oil output. This reduction is expected to take place as part of adjustments under the government's naira-for-crude initiative following the coming on stream of the Warri and Port Harcourt refineries. Both refineries currently operate at a combined capacity of about 135,000 barrels per day. The plants, managed by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, commenced operations recently after years of neglect by successive governments preferring fuel imports. It was gathered that the planned reduction of crude to the Dangote refinery was also predicated on the necessity to ensure a sufficient supply of crude to all refineries. The Nigerian police has pledged to increase its operational presence and enhance interagency collaboration as part of its commitment to supporting the resettlement of displaced communities in Borno State. State Commissioner of Police Mohammed Yusufu made this known during a briefing on its annual crime data report for 2024, where the police recorded a total of 721 crime cases with plans for the year 2025. My colleague Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
It's another successful day for officers and men of the Borno State Police Command. The Police Commissioner, Mohammed Yusufu, is out to brief the press on the command's successes in the year 2024.
The command has reported incidences of felonious crime, misdemeanor, and other simple offenses, totaling 367. Of this total number, 721 suspects were arrested, 257 charged to court, while 110 are still under investigation.
The report by the Commissioner indicated a continued focus on criminal activities such as armed robbery, kidnapping and human trafficking, which have affected both urban and rural communities.
Our projection is in line with the IGP vision to reduce crime to the barest minimum nationwide, at least by 30%. Now, the command intends to sustain robust, proactive policing by ensuring that Maiduguri metropolis maintain its stature as one of the safest and most secured state capital.
The security situation in Borno has seen improvement, with fewer incidents of insurgent attacks in the latter half of 2024. The Nigerian police force stressed that more work needs to be done to maintain security, especially in areas receiving displaced persons.
The Nigerian police force is the lead agency when it comes to internal security. So our projection for 2025 is how do we key in to this grand Borno restoration. To key into that one, we have to align with the transitional justice system by enhancing police presence in such communities where displaced persons have returned and ensure that there is community participation in terms of our policing priority, as well as protection and promotion of human rights.
The police has urged the public to assist in the provision of timely information for response to aid in its crime-fighting efforts, particularly as many communities transition from displacement back to normalcy. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Nigeria's poverty rate is estimated to have reached 46% in 2023, according to a World Bank report, with an estimated over 100 million Nigerians living below the poverty line. However, Nigerians continue to feel the negative impact of the economy by the policies of President Bola Tinubu, particularly the devaluation of the naira and the removal of fuel subsidies. In continuation of our 2024 sectoral review, our correspondent Adebola Adeduba takes a look at the government's efforts in alleviating the sufferings of the people.
Campaign promises of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu upon assuming office was to immediately start a social welfare scheme with direct monthly cash payments to about 25 million vulnerable Nigerians as a way of tackling poverty. However, a 2024 World Bank report says Nigeria's poverty rate increased from 40% in 2018 to 46% in 2023. The increase has been linked to removal of fuel subsidy in May 2023 and the valuation of the naira in June 2023 by the current government. Against this backdrop, the poverty rate is projected to get worse for 2024, with a likelihood of hitting 47%, translating to over 104 million Nigerians living below the poverty line. In a bid to mitigate this and cushion the cost of living crisis in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu continued the cash transfer program, distribution of grains and other palliatives to all states of the Federation, and the country's minimum wage was also increased. Despite these, some Nigerians believe the efforts have had little or no impact on their disposable income.
Kó tó di pé epo wọn tí gbogbo ẹ̀ wọ́n ẹ̀ẹ̀mẹ́ta ni mò ń jẹun lójúmọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tí epo díẹ̀ tí wọ́n ń sìn ẹ̀ẹ̀kan ṣo ni ó ṣe fẹ́ jẹun àárọ̀ ńsìn ni. Mo ní ṣiṣẹ́ kán bá gbé oúnjẹ wá àdúgbò wọ́n ń fún mi o. Wọ́n bá gbé gàrí wá fún mi. Wọ́n bá gbé rẹ́ẹ̀sì wá fún mi. Níwọ̀nba yẹn wọ́n bá máa fún mi. Wọ́n bá dẹ̀ gbé gàrí wá fún mi níwọ̀nba tó máa fún mi ní àtẹ̀wà. Ṣùgbọ́n mi ò gbowó o.
Alhamdulillah shankabu daya da supageti na samu alhamdulillah wannan rabona ne amma naira a cikin wannan naira ban samu ba.
A matakin jiha da matakin sabinan federal government din ba abin da aka mana, kawai dai an zo an same mu an tambaye mu account number namu da sauransu mun bayar, daga baya ba abin da muka ji kuma ba abin da muka gani.
Beyond the toll the harsh economic condition is taking on individual lives, how are families faring?
It's not easy. I'm a single mother of 2. So what I buy 150 before, we are buying 600 now. So everything, the way the things increase, like ×5 of increment. Just to drink curry, can use 300 and drink curry. Maybe money no deal, make me drink curry. But now, if we want to drink curry now, like afternoon, money no deal, we spend 1,000.
I don't think the social intervention has really helped us because, again, we do this intervention without a lot of data. A lot of this intervention are just done haphazardly. You talk about the cash transfer, and we don't even know who are the people that are receiving this cash up to this moment. Again, there's a political side to it. You must belong to a particular political party to enjoy from these interventions from government. To drive and to see positivity in this intervention, it has to be data-driven, just like what happened with World Bank and others. So unless we get that right, we'll continue to have challenges. We'll not be able to see the effect of some of these projects.
All tiers of government must provide incentives to enable private investors to embark on large-scale farming. Also, the president must quickly introduce the forest rangers that he promised to provide for security in the farming communities. This dire situation needs both short-term and long-term solutions to the food crisis in Nigeria.
It appears government may need to audit its poverty intervention program as the cost of living in recent times has soared beyond the purchasing power of the average Nigerian, barely struggling to keep afloat. In Lagos for News Central, Adebola Adeduba.
Glad you're still with us. Let's now bring in our guest economist, Aki Fatuke. Aki, thank you very much for joining us. Given Nigeria's poverty rate reaching 36% in 2023, how would you assess the effectiveness of the government's poverty alleviation initiatives in the past year?
Thank you very much, Felicity, and Happy New Year. Thanks for having me. It's been a potpourri. Good, ugly, damn right ugly. And if you juxtapose that alongside where we were coming from, where you had macroeconomic disjoints, the present regime of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has tried to bring in some semblance of macroeconomic stability by looking at those issues that continually throw us off, continue to borrow and not be efficient in borrowing. However, the two factors which are the plank of that intervention, mobile fuel subsidy, the devaluation of the naira, some people call it floating of the naira, has added short-term pressures on households and farms. I must also say that in the past 1 year, a lot, ostensibly, according to what we hear, has been done, but it's been very little, though not too late. And we need to have a means of measuring whatever it is we are managing. So the social interventions need to be adequately audited. We see it openly and glaring, but nobody can say that it is not happening, because I know, for instance, the National Social Safety Net Program in the scale of the one that talked about 25,000 naira to vulnerable persons across the board. Yes, many people are saying we don't know who this is going to. Yes, many people are saying we don't know if it's going to political parties and the aficionados. We need to continue to dig deep. If 4.4 million, according to government sources, I hope this is not propaganda, have at least gotten one tranche of 25,000. I think it's a good move in the right direction.
On the flip side, what specific measures, or should we say programs, that was introduced by the Tinubu administration in 2024 had the most significant impact on poverty alleviation, if any, for you?
Oh, yeah, for me, I think if you give 5,000 naira to the poorest of the poor and you're able to identify that they are the poorest of the poor, not the likes of me, not the likes of you who are in the urban center. I'm not saying we are not feeling poverty. The kind of turnover you are going to get is going to be humongous. I did a study during the change of cash, in the wake of the former president leaving, and I found that people in the village, they could make do with 5,000 naira. It was a big surprise to me. So I think strengthening this and making sure it goes beyond, urban areas to go to the poorest of the poor. And I'm glad that the cash register is now being streamlined to be the gateway to which government can now begin to measure. Before now, even under President Bola Tinubu, we had a lot of noise regarding the former Minister for Poverty Alleviation, who virtually was following the tool of her predecessor in office. Well, I think this is now being streamlined in a way that I think is supposed to get to the poorest of the poor. We can only continue to grow. The budget is also trying to recognize how to use the safety nets. And I'm glad that Mr. President, presenting the budget to the National Assembly, specifically did mention that aspect of the social intervention has to be overhauled. Yeah.
All right. Just talk to us as briefly as you can on the controversy around the removal of fuel subsidy in 2024 and the impact of the removal and the devaluation of the naira on the economic challenges that Nigerians faced. And is there hope is there light rather at the end of the tunnel from your vantage point?
Well, my point, I don't know whether it's going to be vantage. It depends on what side of the stick.
Because you're an economist, so you're more abreast with the figures and the trends.
Economics is a science, no doubt about that, but it's behavioral. What I think is good for me might not be good for you. And it's not, a cut and paste kind of situation. But I think basically we needed to do a balancing on the macroeconomic issues. I agree, and I said that at the onset, that removal of the fuel subsidy plus a lot of hardship, inflation moving over the roof, and the purchasing power for people in 2024 and going to 2025 is still going to be very hard. But I'm glad that Mr. President has been speaking to the subnationals. Please help see what you can do about agri. Begin to now do the intervention. I was listening to somebody in the clip that you played by Adebola there, that they are getting food, and they're not getting money. Yeah, it's not going to be a perfect hot fit. It's necessary. We must look at it. Subnationals are getting more money, and the national minimum wage, the subnationals are supposed to now be doing something and cultivating the land. I'm glad Mr. President is saying what he needs to do. But however, and always, now at the federal, at the state, even at the local government levels, we need to begin to put codes according to size, reduce cost of governance.
It's a new year. Let's see what happens. Thank you for speaking with us.
Yes, a new year, and I'm very positive. Thanks for having me.
And Happy New Year. I couldn't respond earlier because you were speaking.
Yes, thank you very much. It's going to be well for Nigeria. I'm so sure it's going to be well for Nigeria if all of us put our hands on the plow
All right,
and
sir.
you won't be top.
And away from Nigeria, a court in Burkina Faso has sentenced 2 individuals to life imprisonment for their involvement in a 2017 attack on a Turkish restaurant in Ouagadougou that claimed 19 lives. The attack occurred in August 2017 when 2 gunmen opened fire at the Aziz Istanbul restaurant on the capital's main avenue. While no group claimed responsibility, the assault followed a pattern of attacks targeting areas frequented by expatriates. The restaurant is located just 200 meters from the site of a January 2016 attack on a hotel and cafe that left 30 dead and 71 injured, many of them foreigners. Burkina Faso has faced a series of violent attacks, including a March 2018 assault on army headquarters at the French Assembly, which killed 8 soldiers. Some Nigerian banks collectively recorded 4.85 trillion naira in interest income from loans and advances in the first 9 months of 2024. Perpetual Fasomi Peter has more on Business Tonight.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In business, we begin in Nigeria. Nigeria's broad money supply M2 surged by 51% year-on-year to 108.96 trillion naira in November 2024. This is according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. This increase, driven by higher domestic borrowings by the federal government, reflects a rise in core M2 components. Quasi money grew 1.96% year-on-year to 72.7 trillion naira. Demand deposits soared by 34.4% to 31.6 trillion naira, and currency outside banks rose 50.9% to 4.65 trillion naira. While M2 experienced consistent growth over 6 months, it briefly dipped in October before rebounding in November. Credit allocation also expanded significantly, with loans to the government up 54% year-on-year to 39.6 trillion naira, and private sector credit rising 27% to 75.96 trillion naira. Still in Nigeria, 9 Nigerian banks collectively recorded 4.85 trillion naira in interest income from loans and advances in the first 9 months of 2024. A 114.95% increase from 2.26 trillion naira in 2023. Access Holdings led with 1.13 trillion naira, up 146.4% from 458.41 billion naira in 2023, followed by Zenith Bank with 1.07 trillion naira, a 161.8% surge. FBN Holdings earned 915.35 billion naira, a 128.1% rise, while Fidelity Bank reported 450 billion naira, up 72.7%. Granted Trust Holding Company saw an 84.8% increase to 392.33 billion naira, and FCMB Group earned 317.53 billion naira, a 73% growth. Stanbic IBTC Holdings reported 283.95 billion naira, while Wema Bank and Sterling Bank posted 149.28 billion naira and 139.86 billion naira respectively, growing 76.8% and 54.6% respectively. And that's our offering on business news at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasomi Peter. The news continues shortly.
And in sports, the BPAN president, Yakubu Imadu, has pledged a brighter future for Nigerian boxing in 2025. In football, Super Eagles and Remo Stars defender Sadiq Ismail is on the verge of joining Albanian side FK Partizani. Favor Itwa has details.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
And in sport, President of the Boxing Promoters Association of Nigeria, Omonile Yakubu Imadu, has pledged that more projects will be implemented in 2025 in order to improve amateur boxing in Nigeria. Imadu was speaking in Ikorodu on the 1st of January during Week 18 hostilities of the Yucateco Boxing League. According to him, 2024 had seen the beginning of the Yucateco Pan-African Boxing Championships in Nigeria, Benin and Togo, as well as the hosting of the Maiden Boxing Awards in Lagos. He pledged that 2025 will see greater development for boxing in Nigeria, with the staging of the first ever World Boxing Council Amateur Boxing Championship in Lagos in February, as well as other grassroots developmental programs lined up for the year.
Primary objective is to develop boxing. We must develop the game in Nigeria. The boxing is going to change in Nigeria. Now the 25th is a new year. It's a new circle. It's a new Olympic circle. And with Olympics, with our target to Los Angeles Olympics, I think we have to put in more so that we're able to get more better boxers. The boxers are developing now. Presently now, what we have a new range of boxers, new talented boxers.
Expected to round up in January, at the late days of January, after which it's going to be followed up immediately with the female bouts, the WBC tournament.
The Yucateco Boxing League Season 2 will climax with the grand finale at the end of January. 12 accredited boxing clubs are competing for the grand prize of 50 million naira. The National Sports Commission, NSC, has pledged support for 15-year-old tennis sensation Khadijat Elaojo Mohammed, marking a significant step in nurturing young talent in Nigeria. Khadijat, the first West African to win the ITF J30 World Tour, has already claimed back-to-back Dallas hardcore titles, setting her apart as a rising star in the sport. Acknowledging the financial demands of professional tennis, LSE chairman Shehu Diko assured full backing to help Khadijat reach her potential. He emphasized her inclusion in the Commission's Adopt an Athlete program and grassroots sport initiatives targeting a future Olympic breakthrough. Diko lauded her achievements and expressed confidence in a bright future, vying to align efforts with the Nigerian Tennis Federation. And out to football, Super Eagles and Rebel Stars defender Sadiq Ismail is poised to join Albania club FK Partizani on a 3-year deal. The dynamic right-back attracted interest from several clubs, including Partizan Belgrade, but FK Partizani successfully secured his signature. Ismail is expected to undergo medical examinations upon his arrival in Albania later this week before finalizing the contract. And to wrap up sports updates, Super Eagles defender Oli Saida has resumed light training with his club Orlando Pirates, marking his first on-field activity since his injury in October 2024. The 25-year-old had been sidelined by a tibia fracture but has been steadily rehabilitated. As part of his recovery, he's using an anti-gravity treadmill to enhance mobility and performance training. His return is a significant boost for both his club and national team prospects in the months ahead. And that wraps it up on Sports Update. And Favor Itwa.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
In entertainment tonight, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has made her highly anticipated return to Instagram with the launch of her new account at Meghan, her first since 2020. The account debuted with a poignant black and white video of Meghan at the beach, dressing white and tracing 2025 into the sand on a cloudy day. Within hours that Meghan amassed over 200,000 followers, reflecting the public keen interest in her return to the platform. Meghan's Instagram journey began before her royal life when she was a star on Suits, an active social media user. After marrying Prince Harry in 2018, she joined at Kensington Royal, a shared account with Prince William and Princess Kate. In 2019, Meghan and Harry launched their independent account at Sussex Royal, marking a symbolic step away from the royal fold. However, Sussex Royal ceased operations in 2020 as the couple stepped back from official royal duties. Meghan's return to Instagram signals a new chapter, blending her digital presence with her ongoing advocacy and public life. Fans eagerly await her next post as she reclaims her voice on the platform. Away from that, The 82nd Annual Golden Globes Awards are set to dazzle audiences on Sunday, January the 5th, 2025, with a star-studded lineup of presenters and highly anticipated nominations. A-list celebrities taking the stage this year include Andrew Garfield, Anthony Mackie, Ariana DeBose, Aubrey Plaza, Colin Farrell, Jennifer Coolidge, Michelle Yeoh, Viola Davis, and Dwayne Johnson, amongst others. The lineup also features iconic names like Elton John, Glenn Close, Nicolas Cage, and Zoe Kravitz. Making history, Emmy-nominated comedian Nikki Glaser will host the ceremony, becoming the first woman to MC the Golden Globes solo. Leading the pack is Emilia Perez with 10 nominations, breaking the record for the most nods by a comedy or musical motion pictures. Other top films contenders include The Brutalist with 7 nominations, Conclave with 6, and Anora and The Substance with 5 each. The recently introduced category for cinematic and box office achievement returns this year. Partnering with Luminet, the Golden Globes will utilize streaming viewership data to evaluate submissions, adding a modern edge to the competition. The ceremony will air live from the Beverly Hilton on CBS and stream on Paramount Plus at 5 p.m. PT, 8 p.m. ET. Glenn Weiss and Ricky Kirshner of White Cherry Entertainment will return as executive producers, with Dick Clark Productions overseeing the event.
That's all we have for you tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Civil servants and workers have failed to resume duties 24 hours after New Year celebration. 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has urged President Tinubu to reduce cost of governance. In Rivers State, the governor has insisted that there is only one House of Assembly existing in the state and that it is led by Victor Okojumbo. Off our shores, we brought you news that Burkina Faso's court has sentenced 2 to life imprisonment over 2017 deadly attack on Turkish restaurant. As always, you can catch up on all the latest news by watching News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you very much for the kind attention. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.